Quick introduction. How's it going? I'm Andrew with Investors Hub, and we're talking about the cannabis industry with Ted Ohashi because it's Ted Tuesday. And yeah, if you like the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at ihub_vision. And after a quick disclaimer, let's hear from Ted. Please note that our videos are not designed to be direct investing advice. Our channel and our content should just be one stop on the journey of trying to find out where to put your money. So the illegal cannabis market maintains an absolutely enormous market share in the overall sales of cannabis here in the US, and I assume also in Canada. And so I was wondering, what kind of time frame do you see for the cannabis industry for the above ground cannabis retailers and cannabis manufacturers to sort of eclipse the black market? Because for every dollar that goes into the black market, that's a dollar that could have gone into the investors that are currently investing on the stock market.
Yeah, that's right. And in Canada, I think the US is similar, but in Canada, just 2 quarters ago, Statistics Canada claimed that the legal market overtook the illegal market. So right now we're at about 50-50. But there's been lots of reports done, one that I commented on last week, which would seem to indicate that the illegal market is a lot more than that. This was it was sort of like a 60 minutes program, but it's done in Canada and it's been on for like 40 years or something. And people are just scared to death when these people come through the door. So
it would be extremely difficult to actually get an accurate census of the size of the black market sales. It's like, do you buy and sell illegal goods? No.
Yeah.
No.
So,
that would be a tough measure.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But anyways, so right now it's about 50%. The black market never completely goes away, but you can get it down to such a small part of it that it doesn't matter so much. And so, for that to happen, I think we're talking about at least 5 years and probably 10 years to get to that point. Again, if you just go by the model of the tobacco or alcohol industry, for them, it probably took at least that long and longer. And so I don't think cannabis will be much different. I know there's a lot of history, people dealing with their quote unquote suppliers and getting the strains of cannabis that seem to work for them. And so, it'll take a long time to wipe it out. But you're right, as that happens, the beneficiaries are the legal industry because, as you pointed out, every dollar that now goes underground could end up going above ground to legal operators, and that would be, I think, a very good thing, particularly for a company up in Canada like Kiaro. Kiaro is a dispensary company. They have stores across Canada. The legal cannabis retail sales have been growing really quite strongly north of the border. We've had, I think, 6 months now of record sales month after month after month. And so that's looking to be a very good place to be. And in the report that I do for Investors Hub, Kiaro is my choice in that group.
So we've mentioned in previous videos, and you've discussed this, is that the cannabis market has a sort of an advantage in the sense that there's already an existing demand for the product. There's a lot of industries out there that have to make a thing and then try and sell you on the idea that you need that thing. But history has proven that cannabis has a strong demand among the populace for a while. So that's definitely a plus on the side of cannabis.
Yeah, and particularly as new customers come in, they need to be educated too, on the medical side for sure, but also on the recreational side. What are you looking for, and so on, and it does make a difference which strains you use.
So I did some quick research on alcohol taxes here in the U.S., and they were real quick research. I didn't dive too deep, but so I'm going to reference my notes here. So if you combine the federal per gallon excise tax and the medium state excise tax, you get about $3.40 in taxes for your bog standard 750 milliliter bottle of 40 proof whiskey, which is, if your average bottle of whiskey is $30, right? You're just buying something off of the shelf. That means that about 11% of the money that you're spending on that whiskey, not including any state and local taxes that could skew that number, on these sort of broad, sort of, I guess, sin taxes, I suppose you could call them, excise taxes on this product. And then there's also the 7% tax that would come from sales tax, or 6%, 8%, wherever you are. So there's a huge amount of taxation that goes on for this luxury good that's in high demand. So why don't we see a thriving black market of underground alcohol sales?
Well, I think one reason is that people have bought alcoholic beverages from the underground market, and it's killed them. There's a real safety issue that doesn't exist with cannabis so much. I mean, you may get poorer quality or better quality in recreational terms, higher THC or lower THC, but chances are it's not going to kill you. Whereas, I think alcohol does, could, sorry.
And methanol will make you go blind, right? So
Yeah, that's right. Or yeah, that's right. It'll make you go blind, or some terrible things can happen. Similarly with tobacco, the impact is much longer term, but what drives everybody to that market is cost, so I would think the people that use the black market or the underground market for alcoholic beverages or tobacco are doing it because they're basically saving all the tax that various levels of government are collecting. And that happens with cannabis too. Up here in Canada, there's a 10% excise tax charged by the federal government. Then we have the provincial government that takes their bit of it, and then we have the municipal governments that, in Canada, well, I shouldn't say in Canada, in British Columbia, where I live, a business license to operate a cannabis dispensary can cost you $20,000-$30,000 a year. The typical store of the same size selling groceries or running shoes or whatever, their business license is about maybe $2,500, $3,000 a year. So everybody is sort of taking their kick at the cat here, taking their share of the proceeds. And the more you do that, the more the black market can save. And so, it works kind of counter to what they're trying to accomplish.
The cannabis industry is being squeezed on all sides, right? From the taxation aspect of it and the fact that they can't get any tax breaks, or they get much fewer. It's not that they can't get any tax breaks on their stuff. There's also the amount of money that they spend on testing and to make sure that they're making all of the layers and levels that they need to make on testing requirements for their product. And so I was wondering, so what would you like to see? We'll narrow it down to just like a tax structure. What kind of tax structure do you think would be best for the cannabis industry? I know that the ideal answer is nobody pays any taxes at all and the industry can do whatever they want, but that seems unlikely to happen. So what kind of tax structure would you think is appropriate for cannabis?
Well, I think a tax structure on an industry like cannabis should be equal wherever you are. And so, yeah, you recognize the federal government has to get its piece of the pie. The states or the provinces in Canada have to get their share. And then the local governments, the municipalities also have to get their share. But what they should try to do is equalize that across the country so that it's basically fair. Saskatchewan, which is a province where the provincial government decided to stay out of it. And so you're only taxed at two layers, the federal and the municipal. And the consumer gets better service there too, because again, companies like Kiaro operate a wholesale function in that marketplace. And they do it far more efficiently than the government could. And so people get a greater selection, they get better pricing, and lower overall taxes. And I think that should be the goal for everyone.
Do you have dry counties up in Canada?
No.
No. Doing these kind of state level things when there's no, or county level things when there's no barriers between them, just means that all you have to do is go 10 feet to the left, and then you have a completely different set of rules, which is not really, I don't think, conducive to growing a market. You mentioned Kiaro earlier on in our talk here. Are there any other companies that you have in your model portfolio that have anything interesting going on that you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, the two companies that I keep bringing to your attention or to your viewers' attention, one is Lexaria, and Lexaria has this technology. The latest report was on THC, and their technology delivers it orally, faster, and more of it to the blood. And so now they're looking at THC, they're looking at CBD, they're looking at hypertension, they're looking at nicotine. I mean, these are all major opportunities in their own right. And Lexaria's technology works with all of them. Now there's, you have to keep testing and testing and testing, but that's the stage that they're at. And so it's not just one opportunity they've got two or three or four. The other one is Khiron. I mean, Khiron is just this wonderful little company, bunch of hardworking people. They're almost assured, not quite, but almost assured of having a dominant position in the medical cannabis industry in Latin America. They already are that way in Colombia. They're going into Mexico as soon as the final laws are passed there. They're going into Brazil. They're in Uruguay. They're in, I think, Peru. And so that's a company that I think is a real opportunity. And now they're taking their model to Europe. And they're going to open clinics in the United Kingdom. And so, again, just one of those opportunities that's sitting there. They don't really promote themselves that much. But, every quarter, when you look back on what they've done, it's astounding. So that's another company that I like a lot still. So, yeah. Those three, Khiron, Lexaria, and Kiaro, I think those are the ones that I would focus on.
So do you have a stake in, or are you financially affiliated with any of the companies mentioned?
No, I don't. And I'm not a buyer or seller of any of them.
And do you have any final thoughts?
No. I mean, the frustration right now is what's not going on in Washington, D.C., that things seem to have stalled out. I mean, I understand they have bigger issues. They got to pay interest on their bonds, and so they got to look after that. Biden wants to get his agenda through, so they're working hard on that. But the cannabis legislation, the MORE Act, the Safe Banking Act, they're sitting there waiting to go. And I think they've got the support in the Senate. Both of those have been approved through the House. And so I wish they just get on with it. Majority Leader Schumer seems to want to hold everything up until his bill comes forward, but that's not going to be until the spring. And even he admits if they tried to do it right now, they don't have the votes. So it's kind of frustrating. If you see either of those two, the Safe Banking Act or the MORE Act, look like they're going to go through, the cannabis group is going to be explosive on the markets.
Say, thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you hadn't already. You can follow us on Twitter, IHub_Vision, and I'll see you again soon.